The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority was challenged to market the Argyle International Airport, and we were given that responsibility a few years ago. Now, contrary to many beliefs, as much as the airport has a lot to do with tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the marketing of the airport is completely different to the destination marketing. So we had to find a way, with the same resources, of balancing it and making sure that we did both justice. One of the first things we decided to do was look for the expertise within the area. The marketing of the airport and the negotiating with airlines to come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been a learning experience, and it's definitely been a challenge for us. We looked at many different organizations and companies around the world, and the company that we chose and that is contracted to the St. Vincent and the Tourism Authority is a group out of Denver, Colorado called the Boyd Group International. Well respected, they know the industry greatly and were very honest with us in terms of what we could expect from the airlines, what we needed to bring to the table, the room capacity in terms of if we're ready for such a project. And honestly speaking, when we look at the room capacity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines compared to the Argyle International, we realize that we don't have enough rooms for when the Argyle International Airport opens. And later on in this presentation, I will give you some figures in terms of what we perceive the numbers to be come the opening, the first year, the end of the first year of the opening of Argyle International Airport. First of all, we have been meeting with these airlines throughout the past few years. We have met with them constantly. We have given them all relevant information they've needed in terms of the numbers coming in by air. And right now, you're looking at approximately 85,000 visitors coming in by air alone into St. Vincent and the Grenadines per annum. And I want you to remember that number for later on in this presentation. But also, along with the numbers, and in terms of and room capacity, we had to look at the standards. And Mrs. Halbert spoke about the standards coming on stream, and this is something that I think many people have to take seriously. We've been working with the Hotel and Tourism Association and the Ministry of Tourism in terms of putting these standards in place, and right now it's not by law. We're asking the hotels to register. Quite a few have registered, and we've been very happy with those that have registered. Some have not registered. And for those that have not registered, it is going to be more difficult once this bill is passed for you to come up to the minimum standards. So pre-registering and letting us come in and look at your property, telling you what's wrong, where you can improve, and a lot of these things are just small improvements that are needed, is very important to how we move forward. Because one of the things that the airlines have asked us for are the ratings of all our hotels. So while we have over 2,000 rooms in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the ratings is going to be significant in terms of our negotiations with the airlines. And I should let you know this also. We have to have the contract with these airlines completed and signed by the end of this year, the latest, the end of the first quarter of next year. Airlines usually plan at least a year in advance. As a matter of fact, companies like British Airways plan 2 years in advance. So they have to know where to place their planes, what to do with them, how many times they're going to be coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines when they do come. And it is something that is definitely a chance. So all stakeholders really need to get on stream and get on board with what we're trying to do. One of the things that you should see being placed in the newspapers next week, and I hope everybody will make their comments and really come forward with it, is the taxi drivers' standards. And we've met with the Taxi Drivers Association. They're very willing to go along with it. We've met with the police and the traffic department. And so these things are going to be put in place. All of these things have to be put in place for the opening of this airport. Along with that, we're also looking at marine service standards in terms of the yachties and the tour operators, whether it's land tours or marine tours. We've come up with our marketing plan for the remainder of this year, and we've also come up with incentive plans for the remainder of this project. Now, one of the things that we've done, which I know is of a lot of interest to the stakeholders, we've come up with a forecast of what we think the numbers will be. Now, this was done approximately a year and a half ago, and I think it's time we do another forecast. But I just want to give you an idea of what we think the numbers will be coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the first year of the opening of Argyle International Airport. And let me tell you how we came about this. We did, as a baseline, we used 2007, 2008, and 2009 data, and was compiled for visitors by air and available hotel rooms at each destination. For comparison purposes, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Martinique were used as a proxy for the new St. Vincent and the Grenadines Airport passenger traffic and hotel room inventory after completion of this project. A realistic estimate was also established for the number of visitors by air to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the first 2 years after completion of the airport, with consideration that the number of passengers will almost certainly increase as increased marketing and air service are established post-Argyle International Airport. Given that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will more closely resemble its neighboring locations after completion of the airport, this methodology we considered very reasonable, as air service and tourism in general will be much different than with service that is currently taking place at the E.T. Joshua International Airport. As I said before, presently you're looking at approximately 85,000 people per annum coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines by air. When compared to Barbados, St. Lucia, and Martinique, visitor room ratio is lower, but we expect this to increase with the completion of the international airport. It is estimated that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will have an average visitor room ratio of 50 to 60 in the 2 years following the completion of Argyle International Airport. Our main visitors come from the United States, Canada, Britain, and the Caribbean. We estimate that within the first year, from the United States, we're looking at anywhere from between 52,000 to 63,000 people per annum coming by air alone. From Canada, between 15,000 to 18,000 people. From the United Kingdom, between 33,000 and 40,000 people per annum. From the Caribbean, between 59,000 and 71,000. So basically, we're moving from approximately 85,000 people per annum to anywhere between 178,000 to 214,000 people per annum. Now, this gives you a good idea of what we're expecting. We think the estimates are quite good, and as a matter of fact, we also believe that once we do a new estimate, when we look at 2008, 2009, and 2010, or preferably 2009, 2010, and 2011, those figures are a lot higher than those of 2007, 2008, 2009. So we in fact expect these numbers to increase. Now, I should also let you know, because I know it's been said in terms of the airlines that we're speaking to, well, what's going on? And I've made it clear that one of the things that we've been asked by the airlines not to do is announce which airlines we think will be coming in. And I should let you know, we basically have an idea of what airlines will be coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I can guarantee you that it will at least be one from the United States, one from Canada, and one from Britain at least twice per week. From the United States, as a matter of fact, we expect it to be more than one airline from one of the major cities in the United States, especially coming down the eastern seaboard. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we've also had to look at in terms of the airlines, and sometimes it's better to be late and not be first out of the market, because it's given us an opportunity to learn from what our neighbors have done. Most of the Caribbean countries pay these airlines guaranteed seats. I can tell you St. Kitts and Nevis is approximately $11 million a year in guaranteed seats to international airlines. Grenada, I think, is somewhere around 14 million. Barbados, I can let you know, is above 17 million US per annum in guaranteed seats alone. And what this basically means is that all the airlines coming in, for every seat that is not filled, the governments have to pay for that empty seat. We have looked at this, we've sat around the table with the Boyd Group, and we've said that we don't think this is the way that St. Vincent and the Grenadines should be going. We have made it clear to all the airlines that we're not interested in guaranteed seats, but we're interested in marketing jointly and sharing the marketing as our way of supporting them coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That way, both entities have to work hard at filling these planes. They get people to spend money on their planes. We get people to come into our hotels and spend money here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We continue to promote our strong niche markets, which are sailing, diving, ecotourism, and weddings and honeymoons. These are our bread and butter. And as much as I spoke about those figures coming in by air, that does not take into consideration cruise ships and the yachting sector, which are very big for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have a lot of work to do. I think Invest SVG spoke about the souvenirs. I think that is one aspect of it. We really need to get, in terms of the duty-free shopping, on track. I know that there are some companies that have approached customs with it, and I've also spoken to the Prime Minister about this, because we're not reinventing the wheel. You know, it's not something that's new, and St. Vincent is the first on board with it. We have to get cracking with it. As a matter of fact, one of the interesting parties that is interested in coming into Argyle International Airport with the figures that we have shown them is Diamonds International. And these are sort of, and as Dr. Matthias said, I would love to see a lot of local people step to the plate to offer these sort of things, because it also hinders who we can attract in terms of cruise ship passengers and everything else. There is room for business from the tourism side. Hotels were spoken about. I know now that people are seeing the terminal building being built, that a lot more interest is coming in terms of potential investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I know the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is willing to probably give loans at what, 4% interest rate, Derek? But honestly speaking, there is room for a lot of business, especially from the tourism side. But I must say this again. What is going to be most important in all of this is making sure that we have these standards right. And some people are going to say that we're trying to take the bread and butter out of people's mouths. It's either we do it properly or we don't do it at all. Because we'll do more damage by not doing it properly and not be ready for the influx of people that will be coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hope I've given you a very good brief overview of what we're doing. I'll close on this note again. We will be having the airlines coming in, and hopefully by the end of this year, the first quarter of next year, Dr. Matthias and the Prime Minister will have some major announcements to make about which airlines will be coming in. Thank you very much.